Hello and welcome to this episode of Health Matters on Channels Television. Thanks for staying with us. I am Mary Alale Yusuf. In mid-April of 2014, 276 girls were kidnapped from their secondary school in Chibok. After more than 2 years in captivity, 21 of them have been released. The nation is still basking in the joy of their return. But what condition are the girls in? They have seen conflict, known hunger and deprivation. They were forced to live against their will in unfamiliar circumstances. What can be done to make their lives as close to normal as they were before the abduction? How does Nigeria respond to the charge given to WHO member states to provide holistic and responsive mental health and social care services in community-based settings? To answer these questions and more is a consultant psychiatrist and the publicity officer of the Association of Psychiatrists in Nigeria, Dr. Peter Ogunubi. Dr. Ogunubi also lectures at the College of Medicine in the University of Lagos. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Mary.
Now, obviously, everybody knows that these girls haven't been gone from their parents, their familiar circumstances and surroundings for 2 whole years. There would be some psychological issues with them, no matter how small and no matter how strong the girls are. What are some of these psychological challenges they may be facing at this time?
Well, thank you very much. I think this is wonderful. This is apt, considering the fact that we seem to have passed on and we seem to have forgotten. To have lived for 2 years plus under very harsh condition, under very tough and turbulent situation, constant fear, molestations, all these things constitute trauma. And the way we see trauma is not only physical trauma, psychological trauma. And it is almost the same as you see physical trauma. Any bruise, any injury.
So it's like a bruising of the mind.
Of the mind. And therefore, when you see that way, using that picture, if you look at the process that physical wound get healed, you can also imagine that the healing is just not once and for at a time. So that's why I decided to look at the physical, so that when we're talking about this psychological trauma, we look at our normal wound, how does it heal? So also, they have to go through that healing.
So it's going to take some time.
It's going to take some time. And unfortunately, we seem to have forgotten, and that is why programs like this should continue to reiterate that point that they are still going through healing period. As time goes on, we will mention some of the things they will likely be going through and the solutions that government should provide, rather than what we have at present.
At present.
Yes.
But before we now delve into the full import of their psychological deficiencies at this point, let's even ask ourselves, are there physical challenges? There was one of the girls who spoke about not having been given food for a very long period of time, like 40 days or so. And, you know, she was thanking God that they didn't die of hunger and all that. Would that have any long or short-term implications in the body?
Yes. Well, I think we should just start from the physical, then we'll go to the psychological. Physical, you know that a balanced diet that we talk about, balanced diet is very expensive to come by. And even those who are not in captivity, they hardly get balanced diet. Not to talk of somebody that is in Sambisa. At best, fruits, watery beans, sometimes they will go without meal. So we are talking of problem with electrolytes imbalance in the body. I want to make it so simple for any layman to understand what I'm saying today. They will have problem with the chemical balance. They will have malnutrition. Some of them will have dermatitis, problem with skin diseases. All these things will not just go now. They need to be taken care of. And if you look at what the government is doing, government seems to be concentrating on that area. They appreciate the fact that they may have had hepatitis C, hepatitis B because of the unprotected sexual relationship they would have had. So government seems to understand that. And if you look at the tests they plan to carry out, hepatitis C, hepatitis B, their blood sugar, maybe because they are
which is all
very okay. But that area that is missing now is the psychological. Because post-traumatic stress disorder is what people usually go through when they've gone. In fact, if you hear news about an event that is unpalatable, you can have PTSD. Not to talk of the person.
Without even actually experiencing.
If I'm just relating to it that there was a traffic accident and the head was decapitated and everything, you may not be able to sleep. You may be having flashback. You may be having memories. Not to talk of the people that were subjected. And some of these people also have what we call living memories. They have babies to show for it.
Yeah.
So each time they look at the baby, they will say, oh my God, everything comes back. And most of them will go to marry. They may have sexual anxiety in the future. Some have frigidity. So those are long-term issues. But as at present now, even though we saw them dancing, even though we saw their parents backing them, and they seem to be happy. In fact, some people said, look at these people that said they have been put in captive for many years. Look at the way they are dancing. It doesn't matter that they are superhuman. In fact, some of them may be having abnormal grief reaction. In grief reaction, it's either you don't even show any emotion, you just keep quiet, or you over. So what we have seen may even be abnormal grief. Some of them have just, but when they are now alone, individually, that is when the situation of things come. They have been brainwashed for many years, about 2 years, and then they are coming back to that country. I'm very sure Boko Haram would have told them a lot of things about Nigeria. How then do you do what we call cognitive remediation? Changing what they have had, changing their belief system back to the normal way of thinking. So these are the things that we need to know and we need to prevent and work towards.
A lot of those girls were weeping, you know, at the reconciliation with the vice president and his wife. And, you know, that was a show of emotion, a show of maybe grief, joy, relief. Do you think this is a good start for them, that they are showing some emotion?
It's a very good start. It's a very good start. I mean, I had to replay the video over and over. I was trying to look at each one of them one by one. I was trying to see if I could see some cues. And many things came up through my mind. I saw some displaying abnormal grief. Some were even smiling. Some were laughing.
You find that worrisome?
I find that worrisome. And that's why I said, it's like somebody tells me now, Mo, my father is dead. And I, dead? People should just be, no, people should not say, oh, this guy is strong. He just smiled when they told him that his father is dead. It can be abnormal grief reaction. And those are the people you need to follow up. Some cry, it depends on their personality, coping strategies and co. And that's why it should be tailored towards individual. Some of them are going to be having flashbacks.
Oh, you can't even have a lump, let's treat them together.
Individual, and that's why I'm afraid. I don't know what's happening now. I don't know what is going on. Association of Psychiatrists in Nigeria, they have a committee which has been set as a proactive measure. More than 2 years ago, when this thing happened in 2014, there was a committee headed by Professor Migbodun, a child and adolescent psychiatrist, to get into action that immediately they come. And a letter was written to the federal government. No response, nothing. And I believe under psychological first aid, one of the key components of psychological first aid is intersectoral collaboration. The government must collaborate with mental health experts. And moreover, we have this committee which APN has set up.
Let's go on a short break and come back to that, because I'm sure that's going to take a whole lot of time. Please stay with us. We're going on a short break. We'll be back after now.